Shuby, do you have a good wrestler impersonation?
I'll be stunned if the answer is yes here.
No.
Chris doesn't strike me as an impersonations kind of guy.
No, I am wearing a wrestling T-shirt tonight, but no, I do not. I do not have an impersonation in the the repertoire.
Do you have an impersonation of anybody?
All right, I will answer your question with a question. Do I strike you as somebody who has impersonations in my
Absolutely not
comedy?
There's
Okay,
0% chance.
That's going to make it even better if there is one.
Right. I mean, you know what happens when you assume.
Well, yeah, great. So now look where we are. No, I do not do any impersonations.
So, the correct answer there was you make contributions to the swear jar. Owen, first box of Built Bars. What did you eat?
Got them.
Tell us what you ate.
I ordered the I know this is about Owen, but I ordered was it Rocky Road they just put out?
Yeah.
Consumed that today. Pretty good.
How was it?
Pretty good. It's good. Not an elite flavor, but good. Double chocolate.
Never a bad choice.
Kyle, thanks for taking a break from your fantasy stuff to come join us.
Yes, thank you.
Fellow greatly named person.
I'm taking a break from a special project that I was working on for this.
Am I aware of what this is?
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
The special project is tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, special project indeed.
Yeah.
Say less.
I don't know.
I will.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when it's. I don't know when it's, being released. So
next week. It'll be next week.
Okay. So.
My daughter got her first full Built Bar today.
Just gave it to her and said, "Go to town."
I gave it to her and I sat with her on the couch while she ate it, and she ate half of it and very much enjoyed it. And then Nacho came by.
Oh no, they can't have that.
And you know who didn't know that? Rebecca Jean. She threw it on the ground and Nacho ate the last 35-40% of the Built Bar.
Jeez.
Yep.
Wow.
Nacho's not a big dog either.
He's not.
And
not.
But the disrespect to the Built Bar to throw it on the ground like that.
No, those bars have 100% real chocolate on all their bars, as we remind everybody every time we tell them about Built Bar.
I'm fully aware, sir. I did a concern calculator that I found online that you put the amount of chocolate the size of your dog, and it tells you
how concerned are you right now.
It said negligible.
Okay.
So
man, I wish we could have done that on the show tonight. You should have saved that, and we could have done it live.
You know what? My most memorable dog and chocolate experience was, and then I guess we can get started. Is
sure
my childhood dog ended up getting up on the counter and eating a bunch of chocolate chip cookies that my mom had just made. I was 15 at the time. I remember she called the vet, and the vet was like, "Oh yeah, just to be safe, you should probably induce vomit the dog. So get a glass of water with X amount of hydrogen peroxide and pour it in the dog's mouth, and the peroxide expands when it hits the dog's stomach." And this poor dog was out in the backyard puking for 30 minutes to get all this chocolate up. So never again. I've committed to never making sure my dogs are in striking distance, but I don't think my daughter's going to have that same pact. So I'm going to have to keep my head on a swivel like you did.
Right. Learn from our situation today.
On that note.
Right. Let's go.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes here on the Draft Dudes live stream, brought to you by Mighty Swell, the best adult seltzer on the market. So good, they don't ever make it to Monday anymore because I consume them all during the weekend. And I need to do a better job of keeping one aside. But thanks to our friends at Mighty Swell for making this possible tonight.
We will.
Oh no.
Right off the jump. No, this is a real thing.
Oh no.
Patrick Mahomes has a signature shoe releasing next week. Have we seen it?
I'm guessing if it's releasing next week, we haven't.
The pictures were just sent out, courtesy of Front Office Sports at FOS on Twitter. Mahomes has announced his first signature shoe with Adidas, the Mahomes One Impact FLX, part of his new apparel line, starting retail at $130. And I think they look pretty good. I would wear them.
I am looking at it right now for the first time.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
right? I'd wear that.
I want a pair of these, yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are nice. Yeah. Good pair of shoes. What do you think about the tongue? The tongue, though. It's a little weird, right?
Is it the real tall?
Yeah, it's really tall.
No, I mean, I like the slip-on style because that's the slip-on style now instead of – yeah, so like the whole opening to your foot is one like elastic opening.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like legitimate tongue that you pull up anymore, and it's way more comfortable.
I kind of want the sweatshirt.
From the
are we all? Or Pat, call us, man. We know you got some coin coming up. We've seen the contract. Like,
you bought a couple of teams now. Let us wear your stuff on the live stream. You know. So, Kyle, I have a question for you. Burning question for you.
What's up?
This came up on the Monday Draft Dudes podcast.
Okay.
And Chris and I were talking about the rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I came to, I'm not going to tell you who stood on what side, but we got into Justin Fields. So naturally we got into Andy Dalton and we got into Mitch Trubisky. And Chris and I had a conversation, and one of us took the position that in a vacuum, not for Chicago, right? Not for Chicago, but in a vacuum, would you rather have for your quarterback this year to be Mitch Trubisky or Andy Dalton? And of course, that being this current version of Andy Dalton and the current version of Mitch Trubisky. Which one would you rather have to be your quarterback? Obviously not Chicago. I thought it was a pretty easy answer. We asked for feedback on Twitter, and it did not go the way I thought it would.
I would say Dalton.
Okay.
You must have taken Trubisky.
I did, and I thought there was just a little bit more of an upside play with him because he could move more than Andy Dalton. Now, 7 years ago, I'm going to pick Dalton hands down.
Right. I don't know. Dalton turned it on towards the end of last year with Dallas.
Okay. I thought it would be more Mitch, but no. Everybody blew me up on Twitter and said, no.
Well, and they blew me up on Twitter too, which was, I think, a little uncalled for because I was on the side of a lot of the people
the winning side or the winning side.
Well, I said Dalton, Joe said Trubisky, and Joe was like, tweet at us if you disagree, with who you agree. And there was one tweet in particular that, irked me because it was like, y'all are nuts, Dalton over Trubisky. And it's like, excuse me, sir.
Y'all on the same page.
I said Dalton, so I'm with you. So don't group me in with Joe. Be mad at Joe. Don't be mad at me.
Just reply with "What's this we shit?" Like every time it's like, "What's this we or y'all?" or "What's this y'all shit?"
So if you were like the Colts and Wentz is done for the year, and you had to make either Dalton or Trubisky your starting quarterback, you guys would both pick Dalton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
This will be the only time that we'll bring this up because this is the first time we've spoken to Kyle in this group setting since the release. It's overwhelming that Joe's team was favored.
I would expect Joe to win because he didn't go first.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm not even excluding or accusing Joe of doing anything nefarious here. I'm just saying if people see mine and they say, "Oh yeah, I'd probably do this different," and then as we saw, a bunch of people flooded to get their own versions in. And if there's that confirmation bias that Joe does just one or two things differently that they're going to like, they say, that's it. So
okay.
Again, right. I'm not accusing Joe of listening to mine and going off script, but I think people had a chance to digest mine and form their opinions on what was right and what was wrong. And if they saw anything that was reflected in Joe's that they didn't agree with mine, they were probably going to go with mine or go against mine.
We do have to have these teams battle it out in Madden.
We will.
Point.
Did you get a chance? I'm assuming you probably didn't listen, but are you aware of the differences?
Not yet. I know you made some more investments in the front seven, I believe. Did you come away with Zadarius Smith?
I had Zadarius Smith and Daniel Hunter as my edges.
Yeah, okay. So that was like the big hole in mine because I had Aaron Donald and I went more secondary based. So I got hurt that way.
We had 13 matches, by the way. 13.
Yeah.
I set the over-under at 10. Shuby didn't think we'd get to 10, and we got to 13.
Well,
we had 8 after day 1.
So Tell saying edge rushers dug my grave, and that's fine, but coverage over pass rush. So I like my chances when we sim it out. That's all I'm gonna say.
I still like my secondary though.
And I will say, Kyle, one of the big differences that I think at least made an impact in how different the teams looked was you went with Dak and Aaron Jones, so you used a 4th and a 5th. Joe went with Brady and Chris Carson, so he used a 6th and a 7th.
Yep. So he had more flexibility.
Dude, there are so many good 5th round picks. Like there's not a lot of, they're not like a consistent hit rate, but the 5th rounders that have hit are unreal.
Yep. You get some real sweet spot in there. So the moral of the story is never picking around 6 and 7, right? I think you legitimately texted me that. You're like, yo, never drafted the 6th and 7th round. It's a waste of time.
Right. Just trade your 6 and a 7 for a 5 every single year.
Luke, did you see the receivers that they? No, but did you see the receivers that the guys drafted?
Yeah, I still got Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Adams. I'm good.
Yep.
You know what? On behalf of my friends, poop hat for this. This is a poop hat worthy take.
What?
Poop hat worthy.
Did somebody say poop hat?
I mean, I'm sorry, but when you look at the group of receivers and tight ends that both of you guys got that to be the criticism point, I think is absurd. So I'm going to call it out. All right.
Now, did you know that we had was it all 5 on the offensive line or 4 out of 5? We had the same.
4 out of the 5. Your center was different.
Pretty good recipe.
Yeah, your center was different. Okay, let's get some takes in here.
Yeah, we got some takes.
We do. We have a bunch of takes. Derek King is the next Julian Edelman. Really good quarterback to slot receiver.
I have a hard time saying that. I spoke at the same time you did, and I don't know what you said.
I said it's such a shot in the dark. Like you can make that statement about any undersized, shifty, mobile quarterback, right? Like that we've tried to typecast that for years. I'll take the field, steal it from Joe.
Yeah.
If there is a next Julian Edelman, I will bet on everybody else versus any one guy being it. So,
and I think it's such a different position. I mean, there are things about playing quarterback that will help you at wide receiver, but the functional movement and athleticism that goes into it is different. And like catching a football and running routes, it's different. I'm not going to assume he can do it. So most of the time it doesn't work out when you switch a quarterback to a receiver.
All right. Tell, you put it in all caps and you said spicy take.
Is it actually spicy?
I'm just going to put it up. I've thought this take before and never said it. Here we go. LeGarrette Blount was a better running back than Jerome Bettis. If Blount was given Bettis' career carries, he would have been better.
This is a spicy take.
Yep, spicy.
So, Kyle, you've heard me talk about Jerome Bettis. You know where I'm at on the bus, right?
Pun intended there.
I think was that
intentional?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. That was the best part.
I walked into that. Yeah. I think Jerome Bettis is one of the most overrated football players in the history of the NFL and does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And I do think he was a beneficiary of volume.
No question.
So, yeah, if you give me the exact same amount of carries for Blount as you do Jerome Bettis, I think you have at least the same player.
Do you know how many yards per touch Jerome Bettis had?
3.7, be my guess.
So he had almost 3,700 touches and averaged 4.1 yards per touch.
Including his receptions.
So
what's his rushing average?
For his career?
Yes.
3.9.
He does nothing for me.
Okay. You can make a very strong case that LeGarrette Blount is a more physically talented player than Jerome Bettis. And that I will get on board with. I will get on the bus with and can appreciate.
And I am underselling for sure Jerome Bettis' ability to play for as long as he did and be a respected teammate. Like all of those things play into the package of Bettis that are very different than Blunt. There's a reason he didn't get afforded the same opportunities that Jerome Bettis did. So I don't want to like take too much away, but from a skill perspective, I'm not really sure what Jerome Bettis brings to the table. That moves the needle for me at least.
Steak from Earl. Within the next 10 years, from a draft value standpoint, wide receivers will become as devalued as running backs.
Wow.
This is interesting, right? Because it's like, how many consecutive drafts of wide receivers have we seen like a really good influx with? They're plentiful, relatively easy to find when you consider the volume of guys that come through with talent, the numbers that every team puts on the field. I think that's a little extreme, though. I'll probably pass on that just from the significant drop-off that you're talking about there, because this year's class is a really good example of, like, we ain't in that ballpark at all this year.
So that's where I wanted to go with it, Kyle, right? So we had this top three of Waddle, Chase, Devonta Smith. They're all top 10 picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year we get Ruggs, Judy, and CeeDee Lamb. None of them are top 10 picks. Which crop is better? Which is a better trio?
Probably the previous year group.
And none of them were top 10 picks.
Yep.
I know that the rest of the class dictates that in a lot of ways. But last year, if you would have asked me this question same time last year, I'd have been like, yeah, maybe that's true. And then we saw, Waddle would have went 3. If the Dolphins stayed at 3, they were picking Waddle. They still got their guy at 6. Chase is 5. Devonta Smith is 10. Something tells me the NFL is perfectly happy with these receivers going high.
This take from Nick. If I had to take 2 teams from the same division to combine for the most wins, it's Buffalo and Miami. And in parentheses has said no taking the field.
You'd have a nasty team for sure. But wouldn't it be like Kansas City and Denver?
What do you think he's saying? What do you think his take is right now, Joe? I think we're not on the same page on what he's saying here.
If you can combine 2 teams in the same division and make it one.
No.
Take the win
at the end
totals
of the year, take 2 records and add
of any
up.
2 teams.
So they will they will equal the most wins. So last year they had 23 wins combined.
Correct.
Wait, was that the most?
I can't imagine that it was.
No, I'm sure
AFC North, right? AFC North,
yeah.
AFC North, and probably NFC West.
NFC West with Seattle and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So last year they combined for 23. It was 23 in the AFC North. It was 22 in the South. It was 22 in the West. It was 21 in the North in the NFC. It was 13 in the East. It was 23 in the South. It was 22 in the West. So it was 23. They tied
for the league lead with the AFC North.
What a world we live in. What a world we live in, Joe. I'm doubling down. Yes. I'm in on this take.
It's not even a hot take. It's just repeating what you did.
It was factual last year. This happened. So there you go. Approval Murakami.
Earl?
No.
Thumbs up from me.
We know Shuby's taking that.
Richard, thumbs up from me. That's the pick. That's the answer. All right. I have another take here, and it's just so I can tell Kyle about something. So this is a take from Kyle. Take. Doing 2 times more fantasy research than the average person doesn't actually give you an advantage. Haven't won a league since the very first time I played 12 years ago. We will get into this take in a second. But Kyle Krabs.
Yes.
Today on the TDN Fantasy Podcast.
Yes.
Myself.
Yes.
And Jamie Eisner.
Yes.
Draft strategies for auction formats. Episode dropped today. You're welcome.
I had a chance to talk to Jamie a little bit in Chicago too and picked his brain a little bit. So I feel like I'm going to be ready for the auction draft this year.
I disagree with this take, by the way, Kyle.
You disagree with this take?
Yeah.
I agree with it. I think the key to winning a fantasy championship comes from
luck.
Yeah, there's luck, right? Your team has to stay healthy. It's the way the matchups come, right? Like you're not getting everyone's most productive week. Your players produce at the right times, but do you make that waiver wire pickup at some point that gives you value that was unexpected to your team in addition to staying healthy? Do you hit something later in the draft that is a plus value, like an extreme plus value?
Like when Lamar won MVP and everybody got him late.
Right.
Because he didn't show a lot of passing. Yeah, he didn't show a lot of passing upside his rookie season. So people got him late. And like I was in 3 leagues that year and like all of them had Lamar Jackson that won because
I thought I saw a stat on that. Like the common denominator on like championship league teams, like 80-something% of them had Lamar Jackson in ESPN or something.
Yep. James Robinson this past year, who I traded for midseason because Nick Chubb went down and they needed a running back. It's a good example. If you got him on the waiver wire, who are those guys this year?
Yeah. Marvin Jones.
This take from Tell. Takes on Joe's linebacker take. Elite coverage linebackers will become more valuable, but at the same time, 2-down run stuffers are being dangerously undervalued. A linebacker that can be elite in between the tackles is valuable. It's a lot of words there.
Everything's valuable.
Yeah, it's valuable, but it's about what you're willing to give up to get it, whether that's a high draft pick or cap space. So yeah, that is a valuable thing. I don't disagree there, but that comes with an understanding that you're not using a premium draft pick or significant free agent dollars to have it.
Well, I think the other thing to consider here too is everything within reason is valuable. A nose tackle is valuable and thumper between the tackles is valuable, but it's how do you manage those reps to get them on the field in an efficient way? Because if you're not efficient with that, that's where the value of the player is totally lost. And then, as you said, from an acquisition perspective, if you have to jump through hoops to find the right reps to get him on the field to play 40% of your snaps, what is that worth from an investment perspective?
And there's the opportunity cost, right?
Correct.
So like you put him on the field and he doesn't have range. Offenses know how to put that person in a position where they've got real estate that they have to deal with. So pick your right spots.
This take from Owen. Zay Flowers is one of the biggest risers come next April.
Ask this guy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm one of the few that's not super in on Zay Flowers, who, for those who are unfamiliar, a wide receiver from Boston College, had a really good season last year in that offense, a lot of plays down the field. And you see that on tape. It's not hard to find. I just get concerned with whenever contact is introduced, he doesn't really handle it well at the line of scrimmage, at the top of routes, at the catch point. Like he needs to be open because as far as extending his catch radius to footballs that are not on target or having to like deal with somebody at the catch point, I just felt like he was underwhelming in those situations. So,
Joe,
not super in on him.
Name the most random Boston College prospect you can think of off the top of your head.
Like current player?
Right now. Prospect.
Ben Petrula.
That is a good one. Mine was Hamp Cheevers.
Hamp Cheevers and we have 8 interceptions?
Yes. Yeah, all 160 pounds or whatever of him. But he had like 8 picks and left early.
Did Andy Galick play at Boston College? Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh, maybe.
Or some other team from the Northeast, like the New England area.
Maybe.
That dude was so fun to watch.
My next one would have been Mark Herzlich.
Yeah.
Do you remember before he was diagnosed with cancer? He was like a monster, right? So it was really cool to see him kind of bounce back and end up having a reasonable NFL career.
Yep.
All right, Dolphins, Chris. Here you go. Take. Rivers is by and far better than Ben and Eli.
Define better. Obviously, he's the only one without a championship, but
I don't think he's been better than Ben.
For his career, I'd put him 2 behind Ben for the entire body of work.
Yeah. That's what I'm laughing at right there. Lately, yes.
Oh, no.
Lately, yes. But Tennessee even more so. And the thing about Tennessee is you're continuing to see players that were just middling to below average starters for them become good players in the NFL, like Kyle Phillips and Emmanuel Mosley. Let's see if Marquez Callaway can claim out a role this year for New Orleans. Kamara wasn't a star for Tennessee. So I just continue to like that Butch Jones, Derek Dooley era of Tennessee players. Bad.
Was Alvin in the timeshare with Jalen Hurd there?
It was nope. It was the player before him. Maybe it might have been Jalen Hurd.
Now we got to
know, right?
The producer's on it. The producer's looking it up. Yeah.
I know they had John Kelly.
I have another take ready, but I figured we want.
Go ahead.
This was from earlier, and there was some dissension amongst the chat. Go ahead.
What's the answer?
Okay, so the 2015 Tennessee Volunteers. Jalen Hurd, number one on the team in rushes with 277 rushing attempts, plus 22 receptions. So he had 299 touches. Alvin Kamara had less than half the amount of touches with 141 and still managed 10 touchdowns and averaged 4 yards per touch versus Jalen Hurd averaging 4.9 yards per touch. So Kamara almost went over 1,000 yards on half the touches.
This take from Richard. This could ruin the whole stream here.
Ruin it.
Top three candy bars.
Oh, I did see this.
Snickers, Reese's, Butterfingers.
I got a problem with Butterfingers in that.
I have a problem
tier.
with Reese's being considered a candy bar, but
And I have a problem with Snickers being included here. So we got the whole game.
so-
Somebody's got a problem with everybody.
a hot take. I don't think any of these three are very good. But
Really? Snickers is good. Reese's is
Reese's?
wonderful.
You don't think Reese's is good?
I
Not a
understand
peanut
your
butter
point
fan.
about it not being a candy bar. That's fine.
it's not a
but
candy bar.
I didn't know Kyle didn't like Snickers, but I've also never seen you eat candy. So there's that. No, I've seen you eat no, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I saw you eat an entire Reese's football. The ones that we got
at the box in Mobile.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're not talking about one of the ones that you might put in a Christmas tree that you might get in a stocking.
It was full sized.
It was
like,
a friggin' football.
A Reese's football is what it was.
Oh boy.
Joe, do you want to handle this one?
No, he's not. I forgot what team he plays for now, but he's not good.
Garantano?
He transferred. He's on some other team. He's not worth your time.
Owen, we'll see you on Friday. Here we go. This one from Taylor. Coaches refusing to name a QB1 for competitive advantage is the dumbest thing in coaching.
Hey,
Depends on when.
Urban Meyer's just trying to put a chip on Trevor Lawrence's shoulder, right?
Yeah, since he doesn't have one. Yeah. Got to try and find a way to light a fire under him. Yeah. I guess. I can get it from like a team like New England's perspective when the offense is going to look pretty different from San Francisco's perspective with the QB run dynamics of one of the options versus the other one. I get it. I think there are plenty of weird ways coaches try to go about getting quote unquote competitive advantages. But I think naming a starting quarterback for the opening of the season is one of the probably most effective ways to try to collect one.
By the way, Joe, Washington State is the answer to your.
He can't even play there.
It's just so hurtful. Let me find another one here for you. This one from
It's hurtful
Owen.
watching Tennessee offensive film, trying to, watch enough plays in a row for them to get a first down and get an evaluation on a player. Been going through that for 2 years now.
There's a stigma against small school quarterbacks that doesn't hold water as shown in previous draft years.
By who? I mean, small school quarterbacks have been doing great for a long time in the NFL.
I think that's what he's saying. Is there's always the assumption that a small school quarterback is at a disadvantage, but they always, if they're talented and they have that reputation, they come in and they flash and they show they belong. And We've seen it with North Dakota State twice.
Steve
Trey Lance
McNair.
already making a splash. Steve McNair is a great example.
Elkhorn State, right?
Yep.
Or,
He won like their version of the Heisman.
mm-hmm. Now that doesn't mean
That
that
was
they're all going to
tremendous.
be. That doesn't mean they're all going to be good, but you can get a starting quarterback in the NFL from a small school. It can happen.
Yep.
Joe Flacco, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Delaware.
But see, he was originally at Pittsburgh. Was it Pittsburgh?
Well, why? Why you got to chop down my point? It was a good point.
Well, yeah, no, it is. And trust me, if anybody's going to get after the Blue Hens with a little bit of support, it's going to be me being in Delaware. But I think
it's
it's
some
Pittsburgh
alumni
for
from
1 year.
Delaware too. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah. He went to Pittsburgh for a year, and then he was at Delaware.
there you go. One more.
He was the backup quarterback behind starter Tyler Palko.
Yep.
And just remember, there's a lot of folks that ask questions about why so-and-so is good because he couldn't start over so-and-so.
Yep. That's a good point.
Yep. See it quite often.
We had a nice play in the preseason game I was watching the other day.
It's pronounced Strawn, right?
So that's a good question because the player that has that name that is now on South Carolina that transferred from some school, Georgia State. Yeah, he transferred from Georgia State to go to South Carolina. I studied this guy. His name is Jordan with the same exact spelling of a last name as that, but he goes by Jordan Strawn. Now, as far as Mike, I don't know if it's Strawn or Strachan or what, but
Pretty sure it's Strawn.
okay.
I would disagree just because somebody has to catch the football, John.
Here we go. You think I wasn't smart? I put the take up and let you guys talk about it because I didn't know.
Yeah, Chris literally just jumped right
I
on
know
the
how
grenade and said, I'm going to zip my mouth. I'm not trying to say this. Joe, Clemson quarterback. How do you pronounce it?
Uyunglele.
He nailed it. He still
Well,
got it.
we had a whole
baby.
session on it.
I know,
for this
but
moment,
we
and I
still
delivered.
remember.
Right.
I knew I was going to sit on it and try and pop you with it at some point along the way, and you nailed it. I'm still taking Amon-Ra St. Brown because somebody has to catch the football in Detroit. Somebody's got to do it.
You look good on Friday night. Friday night against the Bills, man.
Yeah.
He was running some good routes.
He
Teron
looked
Neal couldn't stick with him. So,
He looked faster than what Terrence Marshall Jr. did.
brother, we had
Broke
this
my heart.
conversation?
We had this conversation on the phone on Sunday.
Oh my God! I'm like, come on. He's not right, dude. He's not right.
He's still been really productive. It was just, where is your open field juice? Because it's missing. Like, we need to put it on a milk carton.
It was there. I watched him play at Baton Rouge. He looked really fast. to me.
Correct.
He ran a 4.3 something, didn't he?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Run about a 4.8 with pads on against the Colts.
He looked like it on Sunday. So hopefully he finds a little bit more of his juice, and hopefully you find your way back to the draft, dudes. Kyle's had a little bit of a hiatus. He's back. I know it hurt. I couldn't barely go a full week.
Guy talks about me missing time. Missed 3 shows in a row.
I was traveling. I was very busy doing things. Thank you very much. So
You're welcome.
I'm back tomorrow on the show, and we have a great schedule lined up throughout the course of the week. And we also have another live stream brought to you by our friends at Mighty Swell, as all of our live streams are. Yes, Chris?
The Thursday live stream is at 7 p.m. Eastern because there is football at 7:30.
Preseason football. Yep, we got to get out in front.
Everybody got mad last week because we forgot to tell everybody. So here you go. Here is your warning. The stream is a half an hour earlier on Thursday.
Set your alarms appropriately. We are going to set ours and get the heck out of here. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino, Chris Schubert. Thanks as always for checking out Draft Dudes. Have a great night.